Hey, what's going on? Happy New Year, folks. It is the Patriot Business Alliance coming back to you guys live in 2022, ready to kick this thing off. And today we got a special guest, but we're not going to tell you who it is until after we talk about our wins and talk about our gratitudes and, just give back and give thanks to where we came from and where we are today. And we always like to let the log dog kick this off because he's always got W's. They just fall out of his daggone pocket. So come on, Casey, where we at with them W's, man?
W's, man. Well, if y'all have had a week like I've had, you probably got to be about 3,000 places at once. Maybe that's what it feels like, shaking off that Santa Claus, getting that New Year's out of your eyes. So the fact that, the team is operating at peak level.
Yeah, we have to put those mics close to our mouths, boys.
Team operating at peak level. I mean, literally just that's my win. Just my. Had some great family time. That's my personal win. Some fantastic, blessed family time. A business win. Came back after shake off the rust. You can't take a couple days off and not be a little rusty. And I was worried about how's that we're gonna miss a bounce pass? Is that handoff gonna go right? Is somebody gonna miss a block? Nothing. Everything was firing all cylinders.
I get that, man, and it is hard.
Sound problems. Sorry,
No, it is hard to take a few days off and rely on your team and make sure things are going right and smooth. So, and then trying to get back after that, what you like to call that Saint Nick Fuzz or whatever you're calling it, in that Saint Nick crusties in your eyes and that New Year jazz and all that little funk, because everybody loves to just ease that emergency break up when you get into right around December 15th, right? They like to say, you know what, things are smooth, kids are out of school, places are closed down, this, that, and the other, and we all face it. But the beauty behind what we have going on here is we continually strive to move forward and progress forward regardless of what time of year it is, because we take vacations all year long, right? Because we work hard and we deserve it. So we got our guest here, Brian. We're going to get a little bit more detail about it later on in this podcast. Brian, why don't you go tell us a little bit about your wins from this previous week?
Well, from this week, I would say the best wins that we've had is being able to kick off with some great ideas. I think I told you earlier about Sherry with the gym at Anytime Fitness. She's come up with some different ways to possibly set up increasing the membership there by making some great deals happen. She's also looking at bringing in some new gym equipment over there, so that's been good. We've been able to book a bunch of new events for my business with Cam Productions, so we're already starting out with 2022 with some great business opportunities for us as well.
Nice. So that's always good to jump into the new year with business in your pipeline.
Yes.
Right. Nobody wants to start 2022 going, where's my money at? Somebody tell me where my money's at. I forgot it. I forgot it in 2021. I was like, such a great year.
Well, as far as Biden's concerned, we're still 2020, so we're still good.
I know he did say that the other day. Whatever. Yep. Hey, so we appreciate that. And it's important that we recognize the little W's, right? Because we all know that more little W's that we can stack, the real big W's come in and they just fall in place where we need them. My win is I actually took advice from KC and began to implement our 20-minute training sessions per week. So, and I actually took it a little bit further than that, right? I made a bet with my coworkers that I would be and attend every single one for 30 days straight and not miss one for $1,000, right? So, because I have to have some accountability, right? Because I do get busy. And I do get ramped up, and I am the giver. I'm like, yeah, I'll stop what I'm doing and go take care of somebody, right? So now there's a little bit on the line for me to stay and create that habit, right? $1,000 ain't no chump change.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? A million pennies. You got $1,000 on the Super Bowl? Jeez Louise. Go Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? So at any rate, you know what I mean? So we're taking advice and we're implementing the advice that we're given. And so far I'm getting a lot of good reaction from the team. And what I found that is happening is a cohesiveness is beginning to develop. There's synergy beginning to develop amongst us. We're getting to know each other a lot better and understanding our quirks, what we're good at, what we're bad at, what we need to grow at, and we're not afraid to call each other out on each other's bullshit. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, especially me, would just kind of fake the funk. You know what? I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm really not. Oh, I did $50 million last year, but I really did $50 last year. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's important that we have people such as ourselves that will call us out on our bullshit. And so that's you. So I want to thank you for that idea. And now we're implementing it. And I think it's really going to have some positive effect on the growth of Doc's Roofing this year. So yeah, pretty excited for it. Jeff.
Take away, audience. Take that. If you're taking notes, if you're not taking notes, take notes. This is not the first, knowledge bomb that this organization has dropped. Jeff's every minute accountability, right? What are you doing?
Yeah, that 30-minute breakdown.
To be accountable for your time, to make sure you're using your time in an effective manner, not the most profitable manner, not the busiest manner, an effective, right? It's about effectiveness. Are you scrolling through Insta? Right? Is social media running you instead of you running it? Right? Making things effective. And that's one that, I told you guys that was a big takeaway for me in 21. And I'm glad that the daily training is something that's working for you and your team in 22.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
I really want to know, audience, don't you want to know if Mike has to unask $1,000?
We're about to find out in 30 days, because I promise you, my team will let y'all know if you guys are following my freaking my Doc's Roofing page or the Patriot Business Alliance page. You know what I mean? They're gonna call me out. Yeah, it's gonna be sad. Actually, I've spent $1,000 a lot worse places, folks. I'm gonna let y'all know it right now. But that being said, I have to implement some sort of accountability for me. And what is important? Money. I don't like to just give away money. So it's a great way to hold myself accountable, hold my team accountable. And at the end of the day, it's going to help us become that much better in this industry and be that much better to our clients and add that much more value across the board.
Well, self-accountability is probably one of the best, trademarks or benchmarks rather that Marines, Army, Navy, sailors, people in the Coast Guard that we have. We know if we hold ourselves self-accountable, we can take that accountability and grow from it. I think a lot of people will make a mistake with accountability and they try to use it as an excuse or a finger pointing playing game because we're afraid of that, that self-realization that if we messed up, man, we're a failure. Well, you know what? It's okay to fail because that's when you're going to grow the best. And I always have said to everyone I've ever led in the Marines is that if you mess up, it's how you perform after the mistake is what defines you. It's not the mistake.
And you're 1,000% on that. I mean, I can't tell you how many failures and woes and mistakes that I've made. And some of those I look back at myself and it was a woe is me party. It was a doggone pity party. It was a self-sabotaging party. And it was all because of I didn't have the right people around me. I had the wrong people around me. I had toxic people around me. They were like, oh, don't worry about it, man. We'll just go and drink your problems away. Hey, don't worry about it, man. We'll just go out here and just have a great time. And that wasn't the right answer, right? The right answer was, right? Yeah. We've all done it. Like, this isn't new. My story isn't new to anybody else's story. Like, we all do the same dumb shit. I mean, like, we're human. That is what we do. We don't like to feel bad. We don't like to feel like a loser. Right. So we try to submerge or, we try to hold those feelings down with whatever way possible, be it drugs, alcohol, food, shopping, whatever your angst is. You know what I'm saying? Video games, gambling, whatever it is, so they don't have to feel that away.
Yeah. Well, one thing that my wife's big about saying, and one of the things that I think made us such a strong couple was we believe in good energy. We believe in surrounding ourselves with the people who are going to have a positive mindset, a positive impact, which is very important on the way we do our day-to-day business, our day-to-day lives, and how we treat one another at our house. One thing I can say is we sit down every night and we call it our kitchen talk. And we will sit there and we talk about our day, whether it's personal, business, no matter what, we share everything. And I remember reading a long time ago, If you hang around 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
You hang around 5 successful people, you'll be the 6th. So it's always about who you surround yourself with and the impact that it can make in your life, because I believe in that leadership level of when you get to the top of the mountain, reach down and grab the next person. Don't jump up and cheer, because that's not the leader I want to follow. I want to follow the guy who gets to the top and reaches down and helps others to as well.
Yeah, and it's great, and I've always right.
I would say everybody in this room has, and I've learned that just from knowing y'all, from watching y'all, and being around y'all. And again, it just goes back to what I said a minute ago: surround yourself with the right people, and you'll make an impact on other people's lives. And that's what it's all about.
Y'all seen that little picture of the wolves, right? Where they have the oldest wolves out front, and then there's kind of some strong wolves in the back, but the leaders, they're in the rear to ensure that if shit hits the fan, that they're the ones who's going to take care of business, right? Mm-hmm. Same concept as if you get to the top, it's lonely at the top. You know what I mean? It is super lonely, just like Steve Jobs. That dude made it all the way to the top, and then he was on his deathbed. He had nobody.
Wow, that's true.
You know what I mean? All these billions of dollars, greatest inventor of tech out there. Mm-hmm. 0 persons that gave a shit when he really needed somebody to care. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm all about making it to the top, but I'd rather make it to the top with everybody that's in this room and even more people. I want to make it to the top with so many damn people that I have to build a new top.
Well, success breeds success.
Exactly.
So if you're building others up, it's just making you more successful at the end of the day. And I mean, we've all heard the thing, you can't take the money with you. Mm-mm. I think we're all destined to know how we impacted the world when we all lay in, on our deathbeds and we're at our funeral. It's the people who are there that are going to be what defines you. And that's the way I try to do things. Everything we do in my home is all about honor first. And I mean, Jeff was over at the house the other day and we had that quick talk about it where we talked about honor and how much it really means. And when you do things honorably, that to me is just, there's nothing you can put on that with a price tag. It's just self, about you.
Well, you just feel good when you lay down at night. Like I don't have to sit there and rack my brain anymore going, man, did I do everything right today? Because now I've created the habit to where it is just doing the right thing when nobody's looking.
Yeah.
So when I get home and we have those conversations, do I still do bonehead stuff? Absolutely. Like it's human nature. We like to push the envelope. Most entrepreneurs who think outside the box make bonehead decisions, because if we don't, we can never grow. Yeah. Right. And that kind of leads us into tonight's topic is building that team from scratch. And that's hard because we make a lot of bonehead mistakes when we're trying to build a team from scratch, when we don't have structure, when we don't have systems, when we're trying to implement this. And so Brian has been kind enough to jump on here today and talk to us a little about who he is, what he's about, where he came from, and how he got started in this interesting company called Cam, and how he kind of built that team up and rode with it. So I'm gonna give the floor to you, Brian, and just kind of let us know who you are. What you're about, and a little bit about your entrepreneurial spirit and the passion that followed with it.
All right. Well, first, let me say I appreciate Jeff, you, and Casey having me on board. It's been an honor to know you guys and the quality of character that y'all have inside, and it's truly a band of brothers when it comes to people like you, and it's very much appreciated. So thanks for having me on. What started me with Cam Productions was when I was at a low point in my life. Okay. As you said, we've all done dumb things, but we've also had all lows. And I was going through a divorce, and I was like, man, I got to find a way to make ends meet. I don't want to lose the lifestyle. I want to make sure I'm still providing for my daughter. What can I do? And anyone who knew me knew I loved music. I was actually DJing events, for $50 here and $50 there, because I did it for the fun and the passion. Mm-hmm. Not realizing, honestly, that I could make this into a business. I just did it for the fun. Well, once I realized I have to make that mortgage payment, I was like, okay.
Bills don't stop, right?
I've got to figure something out. So we started with the mortgage goal of, if I can just make my mortgage payment, my lifestyle doesn't change. And so that's what we did. I just started DJing everything I could, putting my name out there, no matter what it was. And then the first year, I think I told you earlier, we made about $12,000.
What was your DJ name? Just curious.
It's nothing special. It's DJ Mac.
Watch out now. Yeah. He's coming at you. Mac Daddy.
Mac Daddy. But no, and a lot of it came because of being able to be around the music industry. I've been able to be blessed to DJ with Vanilla Ice, MC Rob Bass, Sir Mix-a-Lot, and just a bunch of different stuff. So the music was already there. The knowledge was there. It's just now how to grow this as a business. So I just started putting my name out there, made the Facebook page, made the Twitter page, did everything I needed to do, but it was still a small envelope of making things happen. What I found is it goes back to what we said earlier about being good to people and reaching down and making sure word of mouth is where most of my business started growing. Or when you DJ'd an event, somebody said, "Oh, I like you. We would like to have you do ours," and so on. Well, I was hoping to double my business the second year. We ended up tripling it. We did about 36 grand.
Nice.
Fast forward all the way. I've been doing it now. I've owned Cam Productions now for over 10 years. And
They didn't have Facebook 10 years ago.
yeah, they did.
Did they?
Yeah.
God bless, we're old.
Well, we're not naming ages today.
Was it-
Are we? Okay,
Is
good.
it really 10 years old?
Facebook's been, yeah, it's way more than 10.
They made a movie about it and everything.
Did
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
you know it's old if they got a movie.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I must have been sleeping under a rock, man, or I'm just doing too much greatness that I don't even give a shit how old Facebook
We'll
is.
go
One
with,
of the
we'll
two.
go with the second part. We'll go with the second part. But, you know, we fast forward and we're making, you know, well into the 6 digits.
Nice.
And we've got employees and we got people that, you know, do the work for us. I book the events. I don't have to DJ them as much now. And it's just become a great thing. And then, you know, getting married, you know, she has her business with Anytime Fitness. And so we've been able to incorporate both our businesses to both be a part of them and have input with them and talk about them. And that's how we've grown.
Well, so from what it sounds like, you had some hurdles, you had some hiccups, you had a passion about DJ. Sounds like you're almost forced into it, right?
Pretty
because
much.
you needed to make money,
Yes.
and you needed to
Make or
make
break.
money with what you already knew. Somewhere around here, got bad mics around here. And then you married, and then she was also an entrepreneur.
She is, yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, whoa, double entrepreneurs, very similar to my life. My wife's a realtor.
Correct.
She's an entrepreneur. She's got her own thing grinding and doing. And she owns Anytime Fitness, which folks, running a gym is hard.
Yeah.
Like running
Yes.
a gym is hard work. I almost bought into the Anytime Fitness franchise
Okay.
about 10 years ago.
That's about the time when she got into it.
And that was like Anytime Fitness was just coming out, right? Maybe they're about 14 years old, give or take now.
She would know better than me, but that sounds about right.
They didn't have a lot of territories in my area, but the place I wanted, they said it was too close to another Anytime Fitness. So I was like, you know what? I'm out. I don't want to do it. But it's hard work. It's hard to run a gym because we're forcing people to change their lifestyle. And if they don't want to change their lifestyle, they're not going to go.
Well, and that's it's funny you say it because one of the good things about Sherry and how she does things, one, I'll say she's probably got the cleanest gym in the United States. I've never seen anyone clean like she does, and she's pounding it. But she's there for her customers that come in or her client base. She has trainers that are there. She has employees, you know, and her focus is doing what she can to not necessarily always grow the gym, but grow the people who are the members of the gym.
Right.
And again, it goes back to just that self-serving way of doing things and wanting to see people succeed, whatever their goal is when they walk in the door.
And owning a gym is very similar to growing a team, right? Because because your gym members are your team essentially. Because if you ain't got nobody walking through your doors, the culture in your gym isn't on fire.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
True.
Like I work out at Legends Fit right up the road. If you walk in there, it is about the most patriotic and most American gym I've ever been in my life. And they have a culture there. So if you walk in and you're not jiving with what you're seeing, you probably don't belong there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I talked with the owner of Legends, and he had the same struggles and hurdles, and he had to separate himself from the normal, right? And that's what you have to do as a small business owner. You go into a very niche and saturated environment, such as gym, hell, even DJing, lawyering, right? Roofering, that's
lawyering. This is AVing.
The AVing. He's AVing. You know, we can get real redneck real quick. But without those members, without that culture, without those core values, without the people that we hire and them bleeding the same values that we are, our team isn't going to be as effective as we want them to be. And so just recently this year, Doc's Roofing, last year, 2021, one of my goals was to get 10 new people working with me, right? And we tried different things, and for some reason, the people started seeing us on the PBA. They started seeing my videos online with the roofing, and people were coming, hey, I want to work with you guys. I like what you're doing. And I had no idea how to run a team. You know what I mean? Because I'd been running my companies on my own for so long that I didn't need anybody's help, didn't want nobody's help. I could do it better than anybody out there. But I was stagnant at this price point, right? I needed to scale. I needed to shift the way I was thinking, and how do I shift that to the people that still want to come and hang out with me, right. You know? And so I think you experienced a significant amount of team growth within your law firm. So it's just really crazy how the people that we surround ourselves with are actually on the same path and the same growth pattern, just attacking it a little bit differently. And it's hard work to keep people at your job, at your company, right? They have to want to come.
What your bride is doing with her business, and that is, I'm there to help you get something for you, not to just get something from you, right?
Yeah.
Not to just get your
that's
$40 a month membership, not to get to get something for you.
Yeah, that's huge. And I mean, you'd be surprised how hard it is to sell people on that, because it's not about the $30 or $40 a month membership. If you truly are invested, and it goes back to what Michael was just saying, if you're going to make it a team, and if you're people walking in the door of your team and you're that coach, and I've always believed in, I would never want to be a boss. I believe in that coach mentality, because a coach, is the person who's going to build you up. And, Sherry has that mentality. She wants to see her people succeed. Then they come in. She walks around the gym. My daughter's been to the gym before and works out up there, and that's her whole thing. She dives into her people when they're there. I hardly ever see her sitting in the office.
Right.
Because she'd rather be on the floor making it happen.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Coaching them up. Hey, man, great job. Thanks for showing up today. Because people, we love, as humans, we love affirmations. We love attaboys. We love, gifts of reciprocity. We love receiving, right? Just as much as we like to give. You know what I mean? We need those paychecks to the heart. And when you're just now getting into a new culture, a new way of life, a new habit, a new path in life, and you feel like the whole world is coming down on you, right? Mm-hmm. You need somebody to come out of the woodworks and go, hey, man, I see what you're doing. You're doing a bang up job. And they're like, oh, good. This isn't all for nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what's making your wife's gym so successful, is because she's pouring back into her team, for lack of a better term. Her members are her team.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with that.
And the same concept with being a DJ, right? Your audience is your team. Yeah. Because you show up to my party and I ain't got no dance music.
Well,
one
of the things that a good DJ will always tell you is, we don't watch the people on the front, because that's a captive audience.
Yeah.
I want the person on the back wall. I want to get him off that wall. I want to see at least his foot tapping. That's who your goal is. And again, it just is always, how can I be better? Because if I have this captive audience, that's easy all day.
Sure.
It's how do you get the person who may not have gotten on that dance floor, or, don't make everything easy. It's okay to challenge yourself all the time. I mean, never stop.
Yeah. And that's tough.
Look, and if I hope if you're taking notes, good. And if you're not, you should be, because challenge yourself all the time. I mean, that's maybe going to be the biggest thing that this organization can bring to you, can get you some improvement for yourself. Because if you're not moving forward, right, if you think you're standing still, you're really going back.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah.
Right? You guys heard me, puke about this. In 2021, $600 out of every 1,000 did not exist in 2020. Right? That's how much money the government printed. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that to get anybody scared about money, because there's plenty of money. What I'm saying is that's inflation. Mm-hmm. Right. Like that boom right there. Why does everything cost more this year? Because of inflation.
Yep.
Right. And because the cost of goods sold, because the backups in the Panama Canal, the backups out west, the what's going on with intermodal shipping and 18-wheeler and blah, 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 blah. It just costs more, right? So you can't stand still, because if you're standing still, you're getting smaller. And that's the same thing with money, like with here, with you, with your improvement, what you just said, right? If you're standing still, you become devalued.
Yeah.
Fast.
From what I just gathered, from what you just stated, is now been devalued. Right? Because I stood still, I watched the world go by me for too long, and now I'm wondering, how do I catch back up? How do I gain 60% of myself? And you're not really trying to gain 60% of yourself back. You need to gain 120% of yourself back just to get where you freaking forgot to, to start moving your feet again.
Jeff?
Well, it goes back to even like you see KC post when he gets his day started. He's not sleeping in and hitting snooze.
I don't know for facts on that. It's maybe he wakes up, takes the picture, posts, and then
it is very true. That is very true. It's possible. I mean, that's that Coast Guard life. Yeah, but
we're just going to bed when I take that picture. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I can't confirm or deny what he's doing after that photo's been posted.
But then you see Jeff always putting his impact statements out there. Daily
for sure.
And I don't call them motivational statements. I call them impact statements, because if you're not letting a statement impact you, then it is just motivation, and you're reading it. And motivation lasts about how long?
As long as you read it.
As long as you read it. So if you're not taking it and making it an impact into your life, you didn't absorb it. You read it. You probably go and hit like, and then it just becomes you remember the old Dunkin' Donut commercials back in the day? You're just making the donuts, and then all of a sudden you forget which way you're going. Are you coming home? Or are you going to make donuts? Let things impact you and absorb it. And it's okay to stop and understand what's going on, but you can still keep challenging, still keep moving forward, still keep doing the 120 like you're saying, so you don't lose the 60% that you could do by standing too long.
And it's hard because we get complacent. It happens to the best of us, even though we're never going to get complacent. It just happens, and it usually comes out of nowhere. You start resting on your laurels. You see your team firing on all cylinders, and we do need
a plateau at the gym.
Yeah,
right. I mean, it happens.
It happens.
Right now, I can run 3 miles consistently. Well, then that's all you do.
Right.
You don't go try to hit that 4th, 5th.
Well,
right? You're not training for that marathon.
Well, let me tell you, Sherry runs a half marathon about every other week.
Do we have the wrong person on our broadcast tonight? Where's Sherry?
You need to get her here next time.
I'm gonna need to get Sherry on stage.
I mean, she's all about training. She's all about staying fit. The lifestyle you see is the lifestyle she truly lives. When it comes to diet, when it comes to take care of yourself, pushing yourself. I mean, she did a Warrior run not too long ago where they were like 30-something obstacles and
it's a Warrior
15 miles. It wasn't the small 3-mile one with 20 obstacles. It was like 10 miles or more. It was insane. But that's how she is. You know, and this comes from a woman, which you should have her on one day, because this comes from a woman who, I hope she doesn't get mad at me, but she was on her deathbed.
Okay.
She's had open heart surgery. And so she had to make a change in her life. And so when people look at her probably and go, oh, she's just doing this or she's just doing that. When I say it's a lifestyle change, take those first 4 letters, because it is life to her. It ain't about this is my life. It's about making sure that heart keeps pumping and she's still able to be there for her daughter, for her stepdaughter, and for me and her family.
Okay, we need you on the show. I think
she's watching.
Share you're in.
Sure.
If you could get up here, we have about 20 more minutes left in our show. So go ahead.
She's at a doctor appointment with her daughter, but next time, have her. I'm telling you, when you hear her talk and the way she speaks with her passion, man, it's mind blowing.
And it's crazy you had mentioned that. I was just speaking to a good friend of mine earlier today, and we all have our rock bottoms, right? We all have that pivotal moment that says it's now time. What's the cliche? Shit or get off the pot.
That shit's over.
Right. Really? Let's done.
Somebody got that story.
I had my rock bottom. I said, nope, time to switch gears. You had your rock bottom. I got to make my mortgage payment. You had yours. I got to leave the big job in the city and do whatever, motorboating. You know what I mean? Like, we all have our I never can remember his taglines, so I make them up as I go. But we all have our rock bottoms.
Are you trying to say something about Semper Paratus? What's going on over there?
Motorboating.
I don't know that.
I turn red easy, so I can just feel my cheeks red all of a sudden.
Brain housing unit.
That's right. It's on Misfire Road. We digress.
We do.
But it's important. right? That we understand and recognize where we came from and where we never want to go back to, right? Your wife never wants to go back to a freaking hospital unless, right? Nobody does, right? I never want to go back to the alleyways that I hung out in.
Yeah, there's
right?
a saying that I always said, never forget where you were, never forget where you are, and never forget where you want to go. And to me, that's just a huge thing. And you can say that, don't forget who you were, don't forget where you were. I mean, however you want to place it. But if you keep those three things, it's keeping you moving forward, and you still learn from the lessons that you had already experienced, where you are now and where you want to go.
And I think it's super important that you share that experience, strength, and hope with others, right? Because I do that now with my children, and I do that now with younger members of my team. And I'm really, really honest with my past, with my people. Sometimes a little too honest, but I feel like some people really need to hear that jaw-shattering, like, holy crap, that's what you really did in life before you turn your life around? It's like, yeah, but when they hear that story and they go, wow, I don't have it as bad as that guy did. Or wow, if he can do it, I can do it. Right? It's all those little things that those little golden nuggets that we can pick up, put in our pocket, and implement immediately.
It's kind of like I don't know if you saw the text I sent today, the sergeant major and yourself, you know, of going down and talking to kids that are in the high school, you know, at the Marine ROTC and sharing those stories, because a lot of kids, I believe, are going through those things, but they just don't say nothing.
They are.
So when you tell them, it's almost like they're not going to tell you back.
They're not,
but they're going to at least hear the deal and understand.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like you said a minute ago, you know what? Maybe I don't have it so bad. And better yet, I now have a way to go.
Right. I have an opportunity. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a path that I can take, you know, and that I feel right now at the heart of where we are in the United States, we need to be more involved with those age groups of the ages of 15 to about 22 years old, because
and it's funny you said light at the end of the tunnel. That hit me just now, because, you know, I've had almost that same speech with Casey, because he's helped my family members out, and he said those words pretty much at one time, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And you know, that it just shows the character that you are, and again, it just always, you know, success bleeds success.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what I said at the very beginning of this. If you hang around the right people and you surround yourself by the right people, you're going to grow. You just have to. If you hang around 5 drug dealers, well, you'll be one. You know, it's just that simple.
birds of a feather, right? It's what your mama told you,
Yeah.
right? Why are you hanging around with them punk ass kids?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and I was, right? I sure was.
I was just a punk ass kid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then all of
Like,
a sudden,
don't go to Rannigan's.
yeah, the next thing you know, you're that punk ass kid, right? And then it's don't go to Rannigan's instead of, go on over to Mike's house,
Mm-hmm.
right? And y'all switch from Nintendo to, you know,
Oculus.
whatever. No, I'm talking about what we were doing, right? We were out on the streets. We were up to no damn good, right? But
it took a team to get us out from where we were. It took
somebody giving us that hand.
Yeah, a hand up,
and a light at the end of the tunnel. And we've all been. Everybody's story is different. Everybody's been through their bumps and bruises and scrapes. And I'm not comparing that to, you know, growing up poor and black in Dallas is different from growing up poor and white in Mesquite or Van Zant or rural East Texas or the Texas Gulf Coast. Going to an inner city high school is very different from going to high school in Rockwall, Canton, what have you. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that everybody's been through a scrape, and it's important to share those stories the raw way, especially Mike, the way you're very raw with your team. And I think that allows them to believe in you, right? Because like, I'm about to get real with you.
Yeah. There's something about vulnerability being strength.
That's it.
Sure.
That's it.
You know,
absolutely.
if you can be vulnerable with the people that you say you care about, there's nothing they're not going to want to do for you, because they believe in you. They saw what you became. And I mean, I think vulnerability is a huge strength. And I think a lot of people don't do that. They want to have give themselves a perception, a wall, so they have a perception. This is the perception I want you of me. It's almost like Facebook. Everyone posts all the stuff on Facebook, you know, because that's what they want you to see, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But behind that Facebook, there's still a real person who has a real story, And, it's okay to share those stories
Yeah.
with people, and that's honestly, that's how my wife and I met, through vulnerability, on a Facebook post.
Wow,
That's simple.
that's crazy.
That and my good looks.
Wow.
And
I mean, you
and-
don't do nothing for me, but I'm not.
and we,
I mean, I get it.
and we
I-
appreciate you making us look better this evening.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
thank you for
There
that,
for you.
Brian.
God,
You know
man.
what I mean? So that is huge.
Yeah.
Because I was worried tonight I was going to look on camera, but now I don't have to worry about anything. 'Cause
Well, yeah,
we got our devil talk here.
I'm here for you.
Our Vanilla Ice DJ looking all swole and sexy and shit.
God, dang.
Yo, hit me one time, TJ. You know what I mean? But again, our topic is starting that team from scratch, right? And understanding that you are vulnerable when you begin to implement teams.
Can't be more vulnerable.
You're so vulnerable. You're so like I had to write down stuff because I have to get feedback from my team. Hey man, how am I doing? Am I doing right? Am I doing bad? What can I improve upon? And some of them hold back, some of them don't. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, thank you for that, but you could have kept that one in your pocket.
I mean, what
know
you
I
just
mean?
said, you literally just said, you ask your team, am I doing right?
Yeah.
What am I doing wrong? Because that goes back to what I said earlier. You're not the boss. You're a coach mentality
Mhm.
Yes.
entrepreneur who wants to do not only what's best as a coach, but what's best is for his players, not his
Mhm.
employees, but his players.
And anybody that ever comes into this organization, they're like, yeah, I work for, and I'm like, I said, you got to quit telling people that you work for me. You work with me.
Yeah.
This brand is
Yeah,
only
strong.
as successful as you represent this brand.
Yeah. And another one that I completely agree with you. But another one they need to drop is I.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I will do this for you. I blah 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 blah. You got to lose that shit. Sorry, Keith. You need to drop that and add we.
yes.
We do this for you. Wait till you see what we are going to do for you. I can't wait for you to be our customer. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
Blah, right. And that's a huge
Yeah.
paradigm shift for them. Not only we're colleagues, right? Because you guys know I love the 93 Bulls. I love talking about them because they're so damn inspiring.
The Bears. Oh, the Bulls.
The Bulls.
Not the 93 Bears. My
Right.
gosh.
And some people think the 92 Bulls were actually better than the 93 because that's the first year they beat Detroit. Right. They never could. 7 years they couldn't beat Detroit. Right. And those Detroit guys, they were nasty.
Mean.
Man, they were mean.
They were probably from 8 Mile.
Man, they were. I don't know if you've ever seen the Palace of Auburn Hills, but it's
on
no 8 Mile. Let me
it's
just
on
say
the other
that.
side of 8 Mile.
It's way on the outskirts of a fancy part of town, man. Not even in the city. But anyhow, that's beside the point. What I'm getting at, though, is that was a group of individuals
Mhm.
that could never perform at a high enough level to beat Detroit. Never could get past Detroit. Never could get to an NBA Finals. Right? Then all of a sudden they became a team. And look what happened.
Yep.
Unstoppable.
Unstoppable,
Dynasty.
right? Greatest 72-10, greatest team in whatever. We all know the story. And that's right, but that's what it takes. And you drop the I mentality and what you said, the I play for coach so it's no, you don't.
No, you don't, man.
No, I play we're with.
Yeah, and
With.
and it's important in our culture that I drive that home as often as possible because there's nothing worse of being part of a team and you being that one guy that feels singled out, right? Or you feel like you're not a team player because there's all these I statements. I did this, I did that. And then there's just team players like, well, I didn't do shit.
Well, that's very true.
You know?
And it can also destroy the morale of
Quickly.
the team.
Quickly.
Because if one person feels they are performing better, or it goes back to even the attaboys, and if this person is just not hitting it, he's got it in him. He or she's got it in them, but they're missing that mark a little bit. This person keeps growing. It's okay, even the players to, coach one another and build one another up too. And I think, I was honored to one day to come up here a little early for something with Aaron. And I spoke on it earlier. We walked in on one of your team meetings with your staff, and boom, y'all are all having a equal playing field. You're all sitting at the table. You're all taking notes. You're all getting up and sharing something, and nobody was left out. Nobody was better. It wasn't like, let me see you get up and do it. You all did it.
Every one of us.
Yourself included. And
That's
so
right.
when the
Mhm.
coach gets up there and makes them, again, it goes back to being vulnerable to his players. If they're not going out and making it happen, then you know what? Sometimes you do have to cut players from a team.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's also is a part of reality when you are building a team.
Right.
So if you don't have the right playmakers and it's going to be the cancer into your team
Cut 'em.
or your
Oh.
coach, you have to cut them.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of making a team. And a lot of people, you know, it's okay to keep trying to put some value in the person or recoach them because sometimes it's easier to coach them than to fire them and replace them.
Mhm.
But the reality of it is players do get cut.
Yeah, and it goes back to the several
Yeah.
topics that we've had last year about emulating the great. Is the right person in the right seat on the right bus? I mean, there's a lot of variables and factors that go into creating a team. And so inside of a law firm, inside of an audio video company or any company for that matter, you may have a very large team, but that large team should be broken down into smaller teams, right? Who is really stellar at sales? Who is really stellar at project management? And who is really stellar at finances and sponsorships and creating relationships? And when you can have smaller teams within inside of a larger team environment, you will become unstoppable. That's why there's an offense and a defense.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why there is
Front office, back office.
front office and back office,
There's
right?
Salesforce, performance.
Right,
force,
because
right. You
it's-
got a different.
Because
and
not
so-
everybody can play at the same strengths.
And when you're small, right, you wearing so many hats. Jeff knows most recently, right? And you know, I remember being the head file clerk, chief bottle washer, and you know, mail clerk,
Yeah.
trial lawyer. I mean, you know, you wear every hat until you realize that you don't need to maybe make that mail, right? You need to
Outsource.
satisfy. You need to start scaling out. And then that's where, and I think this is what huge lesson, biggest lesson, knowledge bomb we dropped at our $1 Million Hustle and at every whiteboard party is that core values.
Yes.
You got to start with why you're doing it. You and me did not start with any notion. We were by the seat of our pants, like, F this big job in the city. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out.
Me and this farmer or whatever the story was,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm just rolling the dice on, I'm leaving this medical profession that I have worked as a professional in for 2 decades, right? And I'm going to take this drug testing business and I'm going to spin it into another business. And oh, by the way, baby, you're going to spin off your own business too. Like complete seat of the pants, no core values, right? How many years were you into this when you wrote? I was 6.
Last year.
Yeah, me too.
Like
Right.
real talk. I didn't fully understand the importance of, and I had values,
Oh yeah,
Right,
but
I
I
had
didn't have them.
values.
I didn't have them defined,
but they weren't implemented values.
and I didn't. We were talking about accountability, and then recruiting, and then look, we're all professionals, and in a professional environment, we see it with the Patriots, with the Bucks, with the Cowboys. Right? People get cut. People don't make it. They don't hold up to their performance. They're not accountable to their team.
Mhm.
And the team says, "Hey, look, we love you, Antonio Brown. Other guys like that. Like, you got to go. You're a cancer," just like you were talking about, Gunny. But that core values, the best tool you can have is defining why you're doing it. And if why you're doing it is just like, I know I can do it better, well, that's core value number 1.
And
Right.
prioritizing the right things at the right time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like you said a minute ago, wearing so many hats. If you are having to wear those hats and you're having to juggle things, you better know which one needs to be the priority, or you're gonna mess up. And if it only takes 1 or 2 hiccups before all of a sudden you're down to level 10 and you're going, holy shit, I just missed the bus.
Yeah.
This is what I love about Jeff. Jeff is the master planner. I know the mics are messed up and y'all'd rather see his ugly mug than mine or listen to him rather than me. But here's the deal. He's always stressing. And one of the greatest things about our friendship, in my opinion, is that prioritizing your time, making sure that you are not just being busy. And I check myself on that, right? It's really great to feel busy.
Yeah. Are you busy getting by or busy
Man,
getting ahead?
But are you? Yeah, exactly. Right.
Wow,
And
that's huge.
and that's a very easy
I
way
mean-
because you're not prioritizing. Okay, I checked 30 emails. Well, what did that do to get you on your 5-year mission, right? How did that move the dial on your 10-year plan? Do you even have one?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then where are your core values and all that? And so these are things that we're talking about scrapes. Like, listen to me and Doc, man, a lot of hard knocks. We went to the most expensive school of business development. It was a school where you got kicked in the head. Bing, bing. You're learning on your customer. Well, that didn't go right. That thing's all effed up. Right.
Oh,
that's
man.
the fuckedest shit I've ever seen. Sorry, Keith. I had to say it. I just had to say it. Right. I mean, I literally remember this one day. I had this colleague. I loved him to death, but he was like Dennis Rodman, man. He was either on or it was a train wreck. Shoes are off. He's sitting butt ass naked on one end of the court. I mean, it was literally like that. Huge deadline. And he's like, here you go. And I mean, the fuckedest thing I've ever seen in the practice of law. And it took me and my buddy Sam Johnson. I'll never forget you for that, Sam. I love you to this day. We worked for 18 straight hours trying to unfuck that thing, and we did it. But we had 7 weeks to prepare for that. And
right.
We had to do 7 weeks of work in 18 hours because whatever happened, he was Dennis Rodman losing his mind that day.
Right.
And it didn't get done. Right. And so what happened? Cut. Didn't perform. Right. But that wasn't a lesson that I took into my
future,
into my core values. But I did learn, right, prioritizing.
And it's easy to reevaluate your team, right? So when we're building a team,
by the way, Keith, sorry about all the language.
It's
a little
like
spicy.
That's right. So as we grow our team from scratch, we also have to reevaluate our team. We have to hold our team accountable,
right?
And if we have to have measurements and scorecards in place to be able to say, hey, this is where you're at right now. Next week when I come and talk to you, I need you to be here, here, and here.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely not.
Because if you're building them to be better and stronger, I mean, in my mind, you're in roofing. It's almost like they should be wanting to learn everything they can from you so they can own a roofing company one day. If they're not striving to have,
don't ever say that again.
Roger that. If they're not striving to be,
they're going to own a Doc's franchise.
That's right.
That's what they're going to do.
That's what you need to say.
They're going to own a Doc's
and
franchise.
we have that implemented in our company.
Well, see, there you go. Again, I liked what you said a minute ago was, are you busy getting by or busy getting ahead?
Right.
And if you're the player on the team who's just busy getting by, it's gonna be seen through eventually.
Yeah, all you're doing is passing the ball, passing the ball.
You cannot tread water forever. There's a reason for that. So it's
Hey.
Well, unless you're a Coast Guard.
Y'all all, everybody here's from the nautical world. So I heard something on a little trip, a little family vacay last week, and I hadn't heard it in almost 25 years, and I could not stop laughing. But one of the sailors on this boat we were on said, you want to see a magic trick? I have the greatest magic trick. I can make myself disappear. How many yard birds or people on the ship or what deck crew, just ghosts, right? Like you have your meeting on the quarterdeck, general orders go out, whatever you're supposed to do for the day, and then poof, you do not see these 18 people that are in your duty section until chow time.
They're professional skaters.
Professional skaters.
Right? You know who is a professional skater? Most corpsmen. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, that's just what we do. You don't need me till you need me.
Hey, look, you have duties in the hospital. We don't have to clean bedpans, so I'm good with it. I mean, like that's we didn't get trained to do that.
Our Marines didn't get bedpans. Keep shit simple around here. You know what I mean? Oh, you got a problem? Good to go. Here's an e-tool.
Oh God.
A lot of people may not get that reference,
I
but
hope
it's okay.
they know. Yeah, I was just going to say, I hope they know,
but it's okay.
I got read, and I didn't even say it. I've been read 3 times on this deal.
You just never know what's really going to come down, and that's why we love going live. You know what I mean?
It's raw, like you said.
But it's important that you stay raw. You stay raw with your team. You don't have this imposter syndrome.
Can't have staleness.
You can't. And I keep this thing as just as crazy and as structured as possible. And a lot of people call that structured chaos. And that's how I live.
Yeah.
Is in structured chaos. But it's organized, because if I don't have that unknown variable, because it's there, folks. It's the force of average. I call it the devil's outside doing push-ups. People want to see you fail.
That is true. I said that to somebody today. I literally said that to somebody today.
Misery loves company.
Yep.
You see that on the social, you see that on the media, you see, I mean, the second I got off that boat and my Wi-Fi turned back on, my news feed just started bad news, failure, failure. And I know that their job is to sell crisis, but that's, of course, people are liking, commenting, sharing. It's now it's in my goddamn Twitter feed. I'm like, I'm just trying to like talk to my homies on Twitter, you know, like beep, beep, beep. And then bad news. But hey, look at this crash. Look at this.
Yeah. It's just a whole woe mentality of the world that we live in today. But it takes people like us that says, whoa, woe is not
it'll
you.
Make you a victim.
Yeah.
You will become a victim.
Right? If you allow that trash into your
Brainhauser group. You know what I mean? And that's what
your team for that.
It's about being surrounded by good energy.
And so our core values
you're talking about with your wife, with positivity.
Yeah.
Right? And I imagine coming back from whatever that hell scare, I can only imagine.
You need to have her on and let her share that story, because you'll sit there and you'll just be like,
wow,
jaw dropped.
Wow.
If you're not, you just.
Well, I mean, and if that was just a complete, and the way you said it, capital lifestyle shift, and that was the catalyst for that. So amazing, so awesome. I definitely want to hear that. And what does that mean for all of us, man? Chasing the best version of yourself, right? That's exactly what we're all.
That's a strong one too.
We're all
I hope people
about.
are taking notes, because there's so much strong stuff going on. But like, I wish I was taking notes.
Well, it's like you surround yourself with those people. He's taking notes. He's taking notes. He's good. He's handling biz. He's handling the Evan job tonight.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff.
Where were we going with this? Right. So the catalyst, right, that takes you to that next level. And if you're not involved with chaos, you're never going to find that catalyst. If you're not changing, you'll never find your catalyst. If you're not pushing the envelope to the next level, if you're not challenging yourself to become better, then you're never going to become better. You become stagnant, stale, and forgotten about. That is what is so important for any takeaways out of this thing is don't stay stagnant. If you get a team, become vulnerable with your team. Share your woes with them. Share your hopes, experience, strengths, and hopes with them. Don't hold back. Become vulnerable. I mean, all of these things sound cliche, but shit, it's cliche for a reason, because it works. It's the truth. It's honesty. Right. And so I don't know where I'm kind of going with that
here's
but
what I'm gonna, because I know we're getting short. So I'm going to, somehow or another, we hit on almost all of this without even doing the read along, but we're talking about building a team from scratch, right? Which is something we've all had to do. So, and look, if you're still a solopreneur and you're like, man, I can do this all myself. I was there. Doc was there. Jeff was there. We've all been there. Brian, there, right? I mean, your wife was there, right? But now she knows that she's got to be the push, right? But she also has to have a team, because that gym's got to stay open. That's got to have that access, because there's people that like to work out at 3:00 in the morning, like to rock, right?
And it's funny you say it, because her phone never stops. And that's the thing, when you are an owner of something,
you better get used to that.
Your day never ends. It is a 24-hour deal. You wake up to the messages, you wake up to the emails, you wake up to the calls. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
I love that. I mean, you got to be ready for that, and then want that, man. Embrace that. I mean, don't run from problems, right? Problems are opportunities.
Well, owners of businesses prioritize their lives to benefit their customers.
Yeah. That's right.
And we'll take on all the obstacles. We'll take on all the carnage and craziness that we can to benefit our customers. And when you get that mindset of what can I do to benefit my customers, it's going to grow, because they're going to tell the next person, they're going to tell the next person, and so on.
But something to cap on with that, Brian, is we do that as business owners. And often the opposite side of that coin is we don't need to neglect where our family is.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Because I was that solopreneur, and I was working the 20 hours. I was getting the phone calls at 2:00 in the morning, and I was leaving, and I was this, and I was that.
What? A truck accident?
Right.
Let me go collect some piss right now.
Yeah.
I need that money.
I need it. I need the brand. I need the credibility I did what I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
Anyone, anytime, any place. That's our slogan. That's our motto. Right. And
always ready.
Always ready. And so from there, You know what I mean? I started to sacrifice things that should have never been sacrificed, all because I was unwilling to release control.
Wow,
And that's some of the
huge.
problems that as entrepreneurs have is, when is it time to release control, and what type of control are we willing to release?
Right. So people who are watching, thank you all for joining us. I threw some building a team from scratch, some of our brainstorm, right? One, we all believe in defining core values. You got to establish the why and the purpose of the team. Gunny, you talked about roles, right? Front office, back office, offense, defense, right? You sales, performance, right? There's different parts of the team, right? So you got to establish the what of the team, right? The roles, right? And for a while, that's going to be you plus one. And then eventually it's going to be you plus two. Then it's going to be you plus 13. The next thing you know, Doc's going to have, you plus your franchise down in Houston, whatever it is, right? Then you have to build that camaraderie, right? Help the team get to ecstasis. I didn't say it right, but that's Doc's favorite word.
Ecstasis,
right? Where they're performing. We're talking
flow state. We call it flow
not
state.
Sexy time. We're talking about flow state, right? 93 Bulls, right? 2004 Patriots, right? That's what we're talking about, right? Unstoppable Navy SEALs, right? A military unit in full peak performance, that kind of performance, right? And you do that by getting them to know and understand each other, right? Jeff is the biggest, smartest guy in the room on this one. I wish he was up here to talk about it. Creating a teamwork protocol, right? Employee handbooks, core values, scope of work, standard operating procedures. This is the guy in this alliance who can help you with all of that. Get a hold of him. We got an email, right? Don't we? What's that?
Patriot Business Alliance TX@gmail.com.
Right, okay. Define your goals. Why do you define your goals? So you can measure your performance, right? You got to have that. And you got to have it for your teammates, right? Every year, I want to know what their personal, professional, financial goals are.
Mm-hmm.
I make a request. It's not a demand. I make a request that everybody turn in their personal, professional. This is something I learned from my mentor, and it helps us ensure that we're going to get something for them, not just get something from them.
Yeah.
Well, what I hear from what you just said with that, and I think the best thing, the takeaway is that if I understand my teammate's goal, then I understand how to help that teammate achieve that goal. Right. And so if he's achieving his goal, the odds of him helping me achieve my goal is
This goes
imminent.
to John Maxwell's,
right?
Leadership.
So it's what do they call that? Compounding interest.
Right. It's
Okay.
what John Maxwell could describe this as having people on ladders, right?
That's
you wanna
right.
Get up higher on your ladder, you got to bring them up. And that's what Gunny was talking about earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to bring them up on their ladder, right? And then here's another big takeaway from Skinner, right? Tailgate meetings. There's two purposes to a tailgate meeting, right? Define scope of work and standard operating procedures, and then it's your tailgate meeting for your learns, whether that's a win, a learn, a loss, whatever you want to call it. Celebrate that stuff, right? But also make sure that you're doing a backstop, right? You've got to have that, and you got to have a short memory, man. Right. Aaron Rodgers, right? Well, didn't he just break the touchdown record? But let's look at all them interceptions too, right? I mean, there have been some dog games, but he's got a short memory because he's going to go out and throw 6 more touchdowns until he plays the Cowboys, of course.
So I'm thinking what my takeaway from that, KC, is now when my wife tells me I can't remember shit, I was like, it's on purpose because I want to be better.
Yeah.
So I don't remember the bullshit, and I need you to stop remembering that too. Okay, because that's really going to help me out if you quit bringing that up. Man, we're at the top of the hour. Gunny Mac, DJ Mac, man, we can't thank you enough for. I'm telling you what, we had our speaker that was supposed to be here tonight got sick. I called my man. He's like, hell yeah, I'll be honored to be on. So thank you at a moment's notice, filling in and doing it. You dropped tons of information for our listeners, not only for myself and our team, but for the audience out there. So I can't thank you enough for taking a time out of your schedule and coming in and sharing your experience, strength, and hope with your entrepreneurial spirit, what you do for our community, the Toys for Tots, the charity organizations that you're a part of, the relationships that you built over the period of your life, and how you're giving back to show people those relationships, you know what I mean? And sharing your relationship with others. That is so huge. Like if I'm friends with some heavy hitter, I want to bring as many people to that heavy hitter as possible.
Wow.
Right?
Exactly.
I want to introduce them to my heavy hitter, because once they get involved with that, they're going to want to share their heavy hitters with us.
Right on.
So I don't want to take too much anybody's time, but I do want to give you guys this January the 19th, Sideways Barbecue. Josh Steaton, the owner, has allowed us to come in and host a live networking event. And this ain't like no regular ass network, folks, because if the PBA is involved with throwing a doggone event, you know it's going to be some fire. And so Josh Steaton is going to talk to us for about 30 minutes on how he got into Sideways, how he got into barbecue, and then he's going to open it up to allow people to talk to him and see how he grew. And then we're also going to help problem solve some of the issues that you may be having inside your own business. So we want you guys to show up January 19th, 6 o'clock. It's a Wednesday night, so you're already watching this. You already have it time blocked. You already have that 1 hour. The only difference is you're going to come shake hands with us, because we want to get more intimately involved with you as a person, so that you can become better as a human and become more successful for not only yourself, but the people that you surround yourself with. Because I promise you, folks, they're looking up to you just as much as you're looking up to your mentor. So, Brian, again, thank you. You got any save rounds? You want to drop anything on our peoples?
No, I do want to point out one thing that you said a minute ago is you do have to take time for family. That is your re-energizing juice, your gasoline. That is your fuel to the fight. We in our home, we definitely put the family first. It's why I always we have our kitchen talk every night. Sherry and I sit down and we just talk about our days, whether it's good, bad, or different. So biggest thing I would point out is never neglect the family, because that's going to be your biggest supporter at the end of every day.
That's right. They're going to be there that says, man, Mike, you're going to be all right. We're going to tackle again tomorrow.
Yeah. And we got your 6 too.
Yeah. So Casey,
Hey, look, y'all take some notes, take some takeaways. There's, we've all been blessed with about 2,500 working hours this year, right? And then from that, you got to balance your physical fitness time, your family time, and then your professional performance time.
that doesn't seem like a lot of hours.
It really, like when you think about it, it's really not. It's really, and some people will, do more, and some people will
do a little bit less.
A little bit less.
Out.
But I'm telling you, man, get after it. It is the first week of 2022. If you don't like where you are, Jeff says this all the time. It was maybe a massive piece of knowledge dropped on him when he was a young man, and his sponsor, if I'm telling the story right, and Jeff, forgive me if I don't, if his sponsor said, if you don't like where you are, move.
That's right.
Right. Make a move.
Yeah. If you don't like where you're standing, look.
Right. And here's what I'm going to say. Look, 2,500 hours. We all have the same time, right? It's how we use it. It's the first Wednesday of the first week of 2022. If you don't like where you are, think about where you were the first week of March 2020, when the government told you you need to stay right the fuck where you are. Sorry, Keith.
No,
Hashtag sorry,
don't
Keith.
remember where you were March 2020.
Yeah, be like Aaron Rodgers. Have a short
forget
memory.
that bullshit, because
you gotta throw
it's
6 touchdowns.
It's in the past. We want you to think about where you're going to be in January of 2023 because of the change that you made today.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. We are no longer regretting our past, but we're no longer living in the past. We want to set you up for future success. Your Brainhausen group should be thinking 5 years in advance.
Yeah, your past is not your handcuffs.
No.
Right on.
You know what I mean? What you do today should have a direct reflection on what you do in 5 years.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So 2020, whatever, kiss my ass. I ain't going back. I don't really care about it. My thought process is, where am I going to be when I'm 50, when I'm 20, 25, 20, whatever the shit, however many more 20s we got to deal with. You know what I mean? It seems like a lot.
It's a lot.
Bless.
We'll be dead when it hits 21.
Good night. It's only going to be 20.
Right on.
So,
Right on.
well, that's all we got, folks. You guys have a
See you
blessed
next
week.
week.
January 19th.
January 19th.
Be there or don't. It's your choice, man.